update that we are picking up with the federal U.S. Commission. This has done it again and has urged the Biden administration to impose targeted sanctions on the Indian government agencies and officials responsible for what it calls as severe violations of religious freedom in the country by freezing their assets. Now, there seems to be an annual report on religious freedom. The USCIRF has asked the US State Department to designate India as a country of particular concern. Remember, viewers, this is not happening on the first time there on the status of religious freedom with several other nations as well. Srinjoy, good morning. How do we understand this? We remember India had given across a scathing response the previous time when this report had actually singled out India, calling for violations of religious freedom for the people there in the country.
Part of the
merely
tells it's not part of the US government. This organization merely.
We're just having some network issues there, Srinjoy. We'll just reconnect that line with you. Apologies to our viewers, but this is the USCIRF that has been making similar recommendations to the State Department in the past as well. And that has been ever since not been accepted at all. But in its particular India section of the report, the USCIRF has been alleging that in 2022, religious condition and the freedom in India has continued to worsen. And it says that throughout the year, the Indian government at the national, state and local levels promoted, enforced religious discriminatory policies, including laws that have been targeting religious conversions, interfaith relationships and wearing of hijabs and cow slaughter that seems to be negatively impacting the minority communities. Yes, Srinjoy, if you can hear me.
Yes, first of all, this is an organization that is not part of the US government. This is an organization that merely sends reports to the US Congress. And the US Congress over these years has not taken any note of it, nor has the US government. So whatever, every organization is free to say whatever it wants to say, but this is an organization whose reports are entirely overlooked and disregarded by the US government. That is very clear. Secondly, the US Congress, which consists of the Senate and the House of Representatives, also does not bother about this organization. So this has sent reports earlier. This may send reports in the future. But as far as the relationship between America and India is concerned, this report has no value.
Right, but even then, on what grounds and how can it really substantiate? On what claims that it seems to be making such kind of a report there, Srinjoy? Because India has not been singled this time around. We're looking at several locations before this such kind of report that has come out, especially talking about alleged violations of freedom in India.
Yes. See, within this organization, there is very clearly an anti-India lobby. Now, this anti-India lobby continues to work without much success, it has to be said, vis-a-vis changing American policy. This lobby is entirely disregarded by the American government. The American government has nothing to do with the USCIRF. Absolutely nothing. Though it's called what it is called. The other thing is even the US Congress, which consists of the Senate and the House of Representatives, has not and does not look at this report with great serious intent. So as a result, this organization can write all the reports it wants to using the inputs from the anti-India lobby, but all this effort by the USCIRF is largely infructuous because no one really cares about what it is saying.
Right. Mr. Arison Singh is also with us right now. Mr. Singh, this is not for the first time when it comes to USCIRF that had continues to misrepresent facts time and again in its statement and its reports, especially when it comes to such pursuance of its motivated agenda, especially against India, sir. What are your thoughts on it?
No, let me give a piece of, advice to the Americans. I will do well to remind them that, if you take the history of the United States of America, there has only been one Catholic president, right? And that too, they killed him. John F. Kennedy was the only Catholic, Catholic to rise to the position of president, and they killed him. So that is the history of United States of America. The second is that I would also like to remind Americans that at the turn of this millennium, there was a Millennium Religious Meet, right, sponsored by the UN, where representatives of all faiths and religion were there, including, one Mr. I think Dharampal, he represented India. And when the joint statement was being prepared, Mr. Dharampal said that yes, please put a clause that all religions must have mutual respect. And do you know that the Pope, the representative of the Pope, he objected. He said, no, we cannot put this line. We can only use the word mutual tolerance. But the Hindu representative, he stressed on the word mutual respect instead of tolerance. And Pope Ratnaizer, I think he was the Pope that time. You please read the proceedings.
Right, but Mr. Singh, do you believe that there are certain misgivings and doubts that can be also raised in the report? Because previously, when the same organization came out with the report, it had clubbed the democratic India with communist China and Islamist Pakistan, and even with autocratic North Korea as well, sir.
So you see, if you go by the floating opinion, not floating opinions or motivated opinions of the Americans, I would say, ma'am, that we will sink. Every day they have a piece of advice for us, with regards to our democracy, with regards to our society, with regards to our education, with regards to, a 400-old country teaching India on values of civilization, and we lapping it up. For God's sake, I have been born to turn the tides, and that is what I am doing with you now today.
Right, sir. Mr. Singh, thank you very much for joining in at this point. We also have Rishabh joining in. Rishabh, how do we understand this motivative agenda? Because the USCIRF continues to misrepresent facts time and again in its statement and its reports, and once again it seems to have singled India out.
Definitely, if you see the report is based on isolated incidents in this huge country, in a country of 1.4 billion. These isolated incidents cannot be taken as a blanket situation all over the country. When it comes to the report, the report has been published by United States, International Religious Freedom, Commission for International Religious Freedom. It's not a government body. It do not hold any water, be it in Congress or in presidential office as well. White House do not have anything to do with this report. B, what are they recommending? They are recommending things like demolition of property. Most of those properties, or for that matter all of those property that has been listed in this report, were already notified as illegal, and after notice the properties were demolished. B, when we talk about the agenda behind it, this is not the first time this body has come out with such report on India. We have seen it earlier also, that this institution annually, whenever the report comes out, they try and mingle around with the internal politics, internal situation of India, which they do not have A, right over, and B, control over. C, when it comes to demolition, or when it comes to religious conversion, or even the cow slaughter that has been mentioned in that, all these are constitutionally done. Cow slaughter is constitutionally banned in this country. And what is this institution suggesting? Is it suggesting that India should not go by its constitution, but by the report of a foreign agency which do not have any local stand-eye here in India? So that is a thing. When it comes to India-US relation do not have any impact on this. We have seen White House already announcing that Joe Biden, the president, would be visiting India in September.
Right. But however, as Srinjoy pointed out, there is no link with the US government here. But how do we understand such motivated agenda? Rishabh, please to stay on with us. Pratibha, help us understand, because such actions only serve to strengthen concerns and credibility, and the objectivity of the very organization is under under a big question mark.
Absolutely. You said it right. Motivated agenda is what it is, and we've seen such claims being made time and again. So let's bust this myth that has been doing the rounds, especially in international circles, time and again, of how minorities are targeted, because the Prime Minister has spoken of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and it is also very well reflected the schemes that have been introduced by the Prime Minister, by the government. Let's talk about the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and these are the schemes that these US think tanks or other bodies are not going to see. There are 2.31 crore houses that have been built, 31% of it allocated in 25 minority dominated areas. So when schemes are being brought in by the government, it's important to note then it's not going to be any of these differences that are going to be seen by the government. It is implemented to all equally, and this is something that the agencies should see. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, here as well, over 8 crore beneficiaries, and 33% of these beneficiaries were minorities. So where are these organizations when such schemes are implemented, when people are benefited? Not a word being spoken by them, and these are facts of what has been delivered by the government. The Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, 9 crore total beneficiaries, 37% of them from the minority community. So the beneficiaries from all communities, 37% of them from the minority community. Similarly, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana as well, 28 crore beneficiaries and 37% of that from the minority community. So when these schemes are introduced, it is extended to people across communities. So the claim that is being made time and again from several think tanks, from several agencies, that minorities are under attack in the country, it's completely unfounded.
Right, and even with the IMF also calling India a bright spot, especially when it comes to economic revival, remains to be seen how India officially will be responding to such kind of reports that has now been released. Thank you very much, Rishabh, Pratibha, for the moment. We have to slip into a short break. Back with more reactions on the other side.